times, bad friends.
Hello.
McKenzie. We were just having a great conversation, but I'm very excited about this because, McKenzie, if you didn't know, outside of the U.S., we are now in 3 different countries with this podcast. There are people in Indonesia, Australia, and Canada that are going to be listening to you, giving us an update, because apparently nobody likes to talk about us talking about people getting kidnapped in the woods by aliens. That's apparently too off the wall.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do is bring in more like a current event, and what I would say with the theory of mastery of 10,000 hours, she has a PhD in murder mystery studies.
Oh God.
Don't pay attention to him. So
y'all just
McKenzie,
made me really nervous.
no, don't be
We're
nervous.
here to learn.
There's only like 10,000 people that are going to hear this. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. We're all going to shut up, and you are going to take us from step 1 to step 100 of the Idaho murders.
Take us to the promised land.
Love it.
So, real quick, I got into murder mysteries about 6 or 7 years ago. I don't know if y'all have ever watched or heard of the podcast Serial.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, I
Great
have.
podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
So I got into that because I just truly believed that Adnan Syed did not do it. And sure enough, his case was overturned and he was released from prison for serving a life sentence, like not too long ago, the end of last year. And they actually, I think that DNA evidence is just so interesting in how it's come such a long way in the last even just 10 years. But 20 years later, they found new DNA evidence. It actually was like a priest. It's the weirdest story if you've ever, I don't know if you're really into Serial, but really awesome ending for somebody that I really believe didn't do it. And I started listening to all these podcasts because I just thought they were like a puzzle, and I really like puzzles. And so especially unsolved murders really interest me. So whenever this case broke back in November of last year, one of the first things that they always tell you, if you've ever watched 48 Hours, is like, you have 48 hours to catch a suspect, because if you don't, your chances go down to like 5% of catching them.
Yeah.
And so whenever it first came out, I'm thinking, oh, ex-boyfriend. Serial killers are actually not very common and very rare. So I really didn't think it was a serial killer, mainly because there were 2 surviving roommates still in the house, but we'll get to that. But it was super interesting because, like, a week went by, and then like another week and a week after that, and we're coming up on Christmas and there's still no answers. And if you kind of look at the serial case or the Adnan case and all of that, the police work was really shoddy. It was terrible. And a guy served life in prison for it. And that was really unfortunate, and plucked him right out of high school at 17 and threw him in prison for the rest of his life. And so you have evidence, or you have, police work and the justice system that fails somebody. But then on the other hand, you have what the public believes is a failed justice system in this case. And they're actually keeping things so close to the vest because they're like, we already know who this guy is, but it's not the public's knowledge, because you'll see in this case that the prosecutors and like the police work was so good that they were not really after an arrest. They were after a conviction. So taking him to court and what's going to get into court and like solidify a conviction, which I thought was so interesting. When you look at all of the things that went into like catching this guy. And so I'm going to just take you back a little bit, do a little bit about I have tons of notes, you guys. I'm like a geek about this stuff.
She has like 6 pages of notes.
Yes.
Don't worry.
What we like.
We love when people
so if
are
you see
prepared.
me like looking down, I'm like looking at all my notes because I don't want to forget anything. But the November 13th, this is of last year. So this is very recent, 2022. Moscow, Idaho. There is on Sorority Row, basically. Very small college, University of Idaho. I say very small. To us, it's a very small compared to all of our
Yeah.
Texas colleges. They don't really, to me, or interest me a lot, but whatever. And there, November 13th, two roommates wake up to find unconscious people in their home, their roommates, right? A 911 call goes out, and the police come to find that they think that they're walking into an unconscious person. You have to remember, this is a college campus. We've all been to college. We all know that, you know, you
Study
never
too
know why
late.
you're unconscious, right?
Things happen.
And so they think they're showing up to just like, some drunk college kids aren't waking up, whatever. And very quickly they realize that that is not the case, and they walk into a home with four brutally murdered college students. Um, One of them, or two of them, were best friends. You'll find, I'll kind of talk about them a little bit, but two of them are best friends, and then one of them is a girlfriend and her boyfriend, right? You have Kaylee I'm going to butcher names, okay, you guys? I'm not great at it because I don't.
They can't hear us.
You have
Northern people have some very weird names.
Call it.
They're kind of freaky.
You
Colin.
have Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Logan, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Kaylee and Madison are the two who you'll probably see the most of if you go and just like Google this case and like really read into it. They're two beautiful college girls. They're in sororities. They're just like really popular on campus, whatever. And they are actually end up being together at the time of the murders. Then you have Zaina and Ethan Chapin, who are, they've been dating each other for like 2 years, very serious, and are found together in the same room as well on a different floor. The house itself is split up in 3 floors. So you have like your basement floor, which is where we originally thought 2 roommates were staying, the ones that were not murdered. You have the second floor, which is where Zaina and her boyfriend Ethan are found, and then you have the top floor, the third floor, where Kaylee and Madison are found. And whenever the case or the news story first broke, it was believed that they were murdered like around midnight, and they had spent the night of the 12th, okay, into the 13th of the morning of the 13th. They had spent the night of the 12th out at some frat parties and then at a local bar. They all were not together. Kaylee and Madison were together, and then Ethan and his girlfriend Zaina were together at a frat party. Kaylee and Madison were at a bar. So they all are separate. And the crazy thing about, like, if I reference Serial all the time and just about like the differences in these cases, this case, number one, there's so many rumors. So it's hard whenever this case was like first breaking and everyone was first finding out about it, there were so many rumors that nobody knew what the truth was. And I think a lot of that had to do with the police work, like holding it so close to the vest that it's like, it's okay that all these rumors are swirling, because whenever somebody kills somebody like this guy did and his kind of MO and who he is, it's funny you referenced Ted Bundy, because to me he looks like physically very similar to Ted Bundy. You definitely should Google him. It's like eerily creepy, but these kind of guys want publicity. And they want rumors. They do. They want all the attention, and that's why they do it. And
and funny that you say that.
so-
That's when you first started talking. That's immediately what I did. Is I looked him
Yeah,
up.
that's what I did too. I've been kind of like looking at stuff as you're talking.
Oh,
And I thought
Yeah.
that was so weird too, because like obviously you're gonna get into it, but I told them like I was gonna like ask questions every once in a while, or like I guess like point out stuff. But like the way that the police officers were just so awkward during the press conferences, And like, obviously they knew and they were tracking that guy and they didn't want to give anything. But then they were so bad at just saying like, hey, y'all just shut up and let us do our job. They were like, yeah, there's no updates. And they were like,
Exactly.
no, you guys have been in there for like 6 hours bringing out evidence. Like there's something. But I also think it's weird how when they called in, people got murdered and nobody heard it. But anyway, you're going to get to that. And it's a 3-story house and those people are a lot more rich than I was.
Wait, so that goes with my question. So you're talking about all these rumors that are going around. And like, I think of, because I worked in higher education for a little bit, where are these rumors like coming from? Like the school doesn't want to be liable for like murder on their stuff. The police officers don't want to look like they're not doing their job. So like you probably have all of these different resources trying to make it look like they're not at fault, which just probably boosts this guy.
Yeah.
Yes. So like what I think is interesting is the rumors. So like take like the justice system and you put it on this whole level, right? And anything that you take into the courtroom cannot be a rumor. It has to be proven. You are innocent until proven guilty, right? And the only way to be proven guilty is to have solid evidence. And without reasonable doubt, this guy did it, right? And so rumors that were swirling around, some of the rumors that were swirling around were like, if you've seen the videos of, it's crazy now how like our society is so reliant on technology and to a fault sometimes, but I also think it's really good because it's guys like this who can't get away with crap like this. Like they can't get away with it because think about how many like, and I'll go into it, but like ring cameras are on people's homes and traffic lights are in like everything, everywhere you go, you're videotaped. And I am borderline conspiracy theorist. And so people talk about getting the COVID vaccination and getting like the, what is it? The chip, the microchip in you, right?
Yeah.
They don't need
5G.
to microchip you. This is a microchip. Everywhere you go, this is on you, right? They don't need to microchip you because they have you on video every single day of your life. They can track your every single move. They don't need to physically microchip you. So like, I am conspiracy theorist deep down.
You're in the right place.
That's one of them I can't. That's one of them I can't get on because I'm like, they don't need to do that anyway. So I think it's so interesting how like all these rumors are swirling, right? Between everyone is like trial by media at this point. If you see some of the videos, and I'm talking like within a week of the murders, if you go and you look at people that are following this case, whether they're on social media or they're on the news or whatever it is, they're honing in on people who now looking back, like hindsight, had literally nothing to do with it. But so many people are going to be like, oh, you were attached, like you're a suspect, right? And they're like, no. So for instance, Kaylee and Madison were videoed at a food truck at like 1:50 in the morning, right? And there's a guy who's with them in a hoodie. And you can literally Google him as hoodie guy in Idaho. And like his videos all over the place. He doesn't have a name. But he is essentially like found guilty in the eyes of the media and the eyes of the public because he just happens to be, he looks shady.
Wrong place, wrong time.
He's the wrong place, wrong time. Nobody knows who he is, but like it comes out that he's just a friend and he just happened to be leaving the bar with them, making sure they were getting home safe or getting at least to their ride home or whatever, going to the food truck and being safe. And because so many rumors were swirling and nobody had answers and the police weren't giving a lot of answers, people are just like, oh yeah, he did it. And so I think the police work in this case is like amazing and it's really, really good. And I'll get into it. So basically November 13th, these deaths happen, and it's not for an entire month and a half that a guy by the name of Brian Koberger is arrested. And he's arrested in his home so these were in Moscow, Idaho. He's arrested in his home all the way in Pennsylvania. And so how did we like get to this point, right? So I'm going to give you just real quick, just a little timeline of like the night of the murders. So I'm going to give y'all real quick. Can y'all see me if I like
Yes.
do my screen like this? Okay, good. It says I have it on another screen. So I want to give you just a quick brief like rundown of that night of the murders so you can kind of figure out like what happened, where are all these characters coming into play, right? So the night starts pretty early, like 7 or 8 o'clock. They go to their separate directions. Remember, Zaina and Ethan went to an off-campus or fraternity party that Ethan was a part of. And then Kaylee and Madison go to a bar.
And these are
And
friends, I'm
so,
sorry? Like, they know each other, but they're just not together.
correct, they're roommates. So
Okay.
Kaylee, Madison, and Zaina are all roommates. And then you
Gotcha.
have two other roommates that come into play later. And
Okay.
Ethan is the sixth person in the home who just happens to be staying the night.
Okay.
So he kind of is the ultimate in the wrong place at the wrong time victim. But the other three are roommates. They just end up not spending the night together.
Gotcha.
So you've got, so at 1:45 a.m. on November 13th, you've got Zaina and Ethan returning to the house that Zaina lived in with Ethan and from the party. At 1:56, so about 10 minutes later, you've got Kaylee and Madison arriving back to the home after spending time at grabbing food at the food truck and time at the bar. 2:57, which is about an hour later, a phone is pinged. Okay, I'm going to get into this phone in a second, but you'll see why this is important. But let me go down to 2:53, which is about an hour and a half after everyone arrives home, in for the night, not going anywhere. 2:53, you have surveillance footage from local people's Ring cameras, maybe video surveillance. It's not quite certain where this footage came from on my end. I don't know, but it might be out by now, but I'm not sure. You've got surveillance footage showing a white Elantra that is traveling between Pullman, Washington, and Moscow. Pullman, Washington is where Washington State University is, and then Moscow, Idaho is where the University of Idaho is. So they're about 10 miles separate, or 10 miles away, of obviously over state lines. So about 45 minutes later, you've got that white Elantra again going by the home. And at this time, this Elantra doesn't really mean anything to the police. They don't know why it's there. It could be somebody who lives in the neighborhood. It could be someone out for a joyride. It could be someone leaving a party. They're really not sure. So this white Elantra kind of like inserts itself into the investigation, but they don't know why. 4 a.m. this is like the strangest thing to me. I don't know why this happens yet, and I think it's going to come out in the investigation or in the court, but we'll see. Around 4:11 a.m., Zaina Kernodle gets a DoorDash delivery to the home.
I heard about that.
Which I think is really strange because
Weird,
I
right?
didn't think anything was open at 4 a.m., right? And so this is like the DoorDash delivery guy shows up at the door. He delivers the food. There is nothing in the timeline or that police have said if he actually gives the food to Zaina, if he drops the food on the doorstep and walks away. I don't really know. I'm going to say I don't know. It might be out there. But from all of my research, I don't know. So very strange to me that there's a DoorDash delivery at 4 a.m. I've never DoorDashed anything
Big
past
fan.
like 8 p.m. I didn't know anything was out available at 4 a.m. So whatever. I want to say it's Jack in the Box, but I could be wrong. So
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 a.m. That adds up.
So about that time, you've got this DoorDash delivery. And then around that same time, maybe 3 minutes later, one of the roommates, I believe it's Dylan is her name. DM is what she's referred to in the affidavit, in the probable cause affidavit that comes out way later. She's awakened by what she hears, what she thinks is her roommate upstairs, which would be Kaylee, playing with her dog. She has like a golden doodle or a miniature golden doodle or something like that. She hears what she thinks is playing with the dog upstairs. So she's awakened. she goes back to sleep. So at
Wait,
this point,
hang on,
I'm
McKenzie.
sorry.
You good,
I heard
Garrett?
something.
Garrett,
I just knocked the shit out of
Garrett
my
is
head.
getting so worked up about
Garrett
this
was
dog.
like easing in, and then
She wasn't playing with her dog, which is so weird. Okay, the whole DoorDash thing at 4:00 in the morning, and if my roommate was playing with their dog at 4:00 in the morning, I would go upstairs and choke my roommate and that dog out and just be like,
Yeah.
"Stop."
Exactly.
Oh no,
I
that's
know.
totally normal. She does it
And
all
I
the
think
time.
that's
It's like
what
4:00 in the morning.
love is
Yeah, I
love.
think that's what a logical person would think too. Because that's what I'm thinking. Like 4:00 in the morning, I'm like, we're about to exchange some words at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, something like
You're not
Yeah.
about
something's
to
got to be
play
said about that.
fetch upstairs with your dog.
Is this
Yeah.
in the sorority house?
Yes.
No, this is in
This
their
is-
house that
yeah,
they live in.
Yes, this is not a sorority home. It's just on the end of sorority row. It's just an
So
off-campus
it's
home.
like
Yeah.
Okay.
an unofficial sorority house.
It's
I
not
guess.
like a sorority
Yeah.
house, so there's
Okay.
not like tons of people in it.
Gotcha.
But this house itself was deemed the party house on campus. So that's where a lot of like
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of
This
people that
is
work in and out,
going-
and that comes into
Yes.
play later on. Spoiler
Yes.
about people
So
coming in and
you've
out.
got
Spoiler.
so you've got this roommate who's
Sorry.
like, yeah, I thought I heard her playing with her dog upstairs and I just went back to sleep. Let's not forget, as I get into all of this, that I want to say that every single person in the house had been drinking. So the amount of like, think about like if it's 4:00 in the morning and you were drunk and something woke you up at 4 a.m. Like you're delirious, you're not really sure what's going on, right? So this is, to me, so many people placed blame on the roommate, and I just think that's so unfair because it's like, if I can barely like find my phone charger or my phone if I've been like drinking, right? And then you expect me to wake up after 4 hours of sleep and I'm still drunk. Like there's no way, right? So
Right.
a lot of the blame does get put on the roommates, and I think that's really unfair because I think they're also fight or flight defensive mode. They're just kind of like, I didn't hear anything. Your brain doesn't automatically go to, I heard a thud in the living room, it must be a murderer. Like your
Yeah.
brain
Like
tries
you're probably
to
like, hey,
mitigate the
especially in a house like
situation.
that. Yeah.
Well, your house is your
Exactly.
safe space, right? And like, so the last thing you think is something is going wrong.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
probably just think
yeah.
like, oh, that's just Joey being an idiot again in the living room, you know?
Yeah.
Joey.
Yeah.
God,
Playing with
sorry,
power.
Joey.
From Friends. He's a good
anyway.
guy. Good guy.
So 4 a.m., this DoorDash delivery gets dropped off. At 4:04 a.m., there's the white Elantra comes into play again, and it's seen doing a 3-point turn in the roadway near the house. And this is all caught on, like I said, surveillance footage of maybe like people around that house. So that's one of the craziest parts to me is you've got 4 a.m., you've got this DoorDash delivery, right? Right after that, so this Elantra is doing this 3-point turn, right? And this is where they assume that the Elantra is trying to park so that whoever's in it can get out of the car and go into the house. At 4:12, so not even 10 minutes later, Zaina Kernodle is using her app on her phone, her TikTok app. So she's on TikTok and she's scrolling through it. The downstairs roommate, who I don't know their initials because they're not really talked about that often versus the other one on the second floor. She also is awake at this time and hears sounds coming from Kernodle's room at about 4:15 p.m. And so you've got all these people passing within minutes of each other that you just think like, had this DoorDash delivery guy showed up 2 minutes later and had he had passed the suspect in passing, would it have scared him off and he ran
Dolphin.
away? Like, I'm not about to face this dude, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Dude, he
you've
was
got all
4
these
minutes
people
away from
passing.
possibly like deterring a murderer.
I thought he was the.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hooked. Keep going.
He'd going.
So you've
DoorDash
got
guy
the
did it.
DoorDash
Flip it.
guy who either could have been like, he could have been murdered, or he could have like deterred the murder. Like, I don't know how he lives with that, right? I mean, he's delivering a
Wow.
DoorDash at 4 a.m.
I
Like,
for
he's
sure
like, I couldn't have been
thought
2 minutes later.
the DoorDash guy was the murderer.
Me
Yeah.
too.
No, no,
Oh,
Whoa,
no.
this just
Okay,
took a
so
turn. M. Night Shyamalan.
So we're gonna pause for
so
like
you've got
10 seconds.
yeah.
I'm gonna share a screen so everybody can see the picture of this guy of what
Oh.
he looks like.
how about the girl?
That way,
Yeah. Go ahead and pause.
Good ball.
This podcast brought to you today by ChristianMingle.com.
Farmers only as well.
so that's the guy.
That's the dude.
That's
Can
the
we-
guy
can
that
you
got
also
arrested
pull
for
up-
murders.
Can you also pull up Ted
Can
Bundy
you-
because we went ahead and
Yes.
we
Can you do
we
Ted
went
Bundy?
ahead.
Anybody?
That's also that's the cheat. I thought that was Vladimir Putin on your right.
Thought it was Biden.
Yeah,
So
thought it was
so let that balloon pop
Biden.
Whoa.
in.
That's so. Oh, so a good looking dude, right? After. After, well, but
Kinda looks
Garrett,
like a DoorDash
Garrett, if you
delivery
went,
guy.
if you got hammered and went axe throwing, and that dude hit on you, you're in. There ain't no
He's going-
qualms,
He's going to the Carter household now.
dude. Look at that jawline, dude. I'm in. I'm not even. I'm in.
That nose is too crooked for me.
I want to say he's like 6'3" or 6'4" maybe. He's a really
keep
big guy.
talking.
Hot.
I'm suddenly on his side. I'm on his side.
So there's
Suddenly
just a
fan.
quick picture of
Look
Ted
at this-
Bundy.
Yeah, that's
Look,
creepy.
Very
Does he not
similar.
That's
look
pretty
kind of
creepy.
like Ted Bundy?
He
Yeah,
does.
the eyes. I think it's the eyes.
The
That's Zac Efron.
And the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
No, don't talk about him like that.
Yeah, you can't put Zac
Don't
Efron.
compare
in.
him.
No, that's literally Zac Efron under the second picture.
Yeah.
Under the second one, yeah, but
Oh yeah, that is him.
Did y'all
'cause
ever
there's
watch that
is-
Netflix
I did.
documentary about?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Did you like
Yeah.
it? I didn't.
No, it was not
It was
good.
kind of weird.
Owen Wilson's nose.
It looked like they're like trying to
Wow.
dramatize like this
You muted him.
killer.
Yes.
Yeah, he can't
We
talk.
have muted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, He lost that privilege before you get on here. You wouldn't understand.
All
We're
right,
going back
sorry
to-
to go off on a tangent, but I
No,
wanted
that's
everybody
okay.
to see his face.
I was
That
wondering
was-
if like commercials happened or whatever. So anyway.
I add the sponsors later.
We're not that
Okay, cool.
popular yet. We're starting small.
Okay.
We have like Dollar General and like Ted
Brought to you by
Bundy shit
E-Trade.
and stuff.
And
It's tax season, everybody.
Chinese balloons.
Yeah. yeah.
Party City.
Oh my
Party
gosh.
City.
So so you've got this. She's using TikTok, right, at 4:12
Yep.
a.m.
Been there.
And she at that time, so DoorDash has been delivered. The white Elantra is seen doing the 3-point turn. We're assuming he has parked and entered the home at this time. You hear the downstairs roommate gives a statement to the police saying that at 4:15, 4:12, somewhere in that area, she is also awake, and she opens her door and she hears a male voice telling somebody something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." And that's when we can assume that like the murders happened, right?
He's not
I
helping.
won't go into too much detail about the murders because all you need to know is they are all forced stabbed to death, and it is very brutal. And it's the only good part is that from the autopsy results have concluded that they didn't suffer and they all died very quickly. This was a very quick, calculated murder. Okay, so our 4 murders, I guess. So
So I think
at
calculated is the key word, right? Like this, it's not just
Yes.
yeah,
it wasn't just like random.
correct.
Ah.
So at 4, so that's 4:12 a.m. At 4:17 a.m., a security camera from a nearby residence picks up some distorted audio from what sounds like a dog bark. You can hear a dog barking numerous times, and then you can hear crying and you can hear a loud thud. And so that's when they've narrowed down that this comes from Zaina Kernodle's room, and Ethan Chapin is killed. So you can hear her crying and you can then hear the dog barking. It's like this whole murder's been caught on somebody's audio. It's really crazy.
You can
to
hear the
listen to. It's
thud
sad,
on a
but
neighbor's audio. Must have been a
yeah.
big
So
old
it-
thud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it picks up. It's like, so all these houses are like really close together on this. I want to, it's not sorority row, but they are all these like 3-story homes that are just like cookie cutter, right? So
Gotcha.
somebody's camera on the outside of their home was videoing maybe their driveway, and happened to be on the same level as Zaina's room and is like 6 or 10 feet outside her door, like her window.
Wow.
And ends up catching it. So
Wow.
at that time, it's exactly like at some point, it's like exactly unclear what time it is. The roommate on the second floor, she goes by the name of DM. I think it's come out her name is Dylan.
Hmm.
She opens her door and she comes face to face with this guy. And
Yeah, this is the part I
he
watched.
immediately runs out the door and he leaves. And she can only describe him as a guy in all black clothing. He has a mask on and he has really bushy eyebrows. That's
Like
like
the
all
dude
she
from
gets
the
from it.
food truck.
Right.
Hoodie
So
man.
no, so this is like really tall guy. No, the food. So I'll go back to that.
Okay, sorry.
Food truck guy, not the guy.
I'm hanging
Happened
on
to be
every
a friend.
word.
I know. So she ends up coming like face to face with this guy, and he walks out the sliding glass door, which is where he's presumed to have come in to the house to enter the home. She goes back into her room, locks the door, and goes back to sleep, and that's it.
A
And
terrible
so
roommate.
at
She's in on
4:20
it.
a.m. At 4:20 a.m., the Elantra is seen leaving the neighborhood at a high rate of speed.
So that's from 412 to 420.
Yeah, very quickly. It happened so fast, and that's why I really think, like, I'll get into why I think it was like the the death penalty is on the table in Idaho, and
Hmm.
Good.
I don't think it's
Good.
going to take a lot for the prosecution to determine that this was premeditated. All they have to say is it was premeditated. Like they have to prove it's premeditated, and this guy really could get the death penalty unless he takes the plea deal of life in prison. Colin.
Colin.
So, because I did not look up any previous info, was it premeditated for these women and male, or do you think he was going to kill that night?
So let me get to that. So that's a good
sorry.
question.
Oh,
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
that's
because
okay.
he doesn't know.
That's a
he
good
doesn't know.
question.
He doesn't
That's
know
a
about that
good
Reddit post,
freaking
does he,
question.
McKenzie? Is that
Oh.
what you're
Spoiler.
gonna talk about? Oh,
So this, right?
Mute him.
I just have questions, man. I like this.
yeah, I know. It's good.
So, so that is at this white Elantra is seen leaving at 4:20 a.m. Right after the murders, it comes out that the hold on, I gotta turn this up real quick. So it comes out that the police have started honing in on this white Elantra. And the reason, how they kind of come to, like, how do they get to Brian Koberger, who ends up being arrested and is the main suspect in these murders? So he's arrested December 30th, I believe, is his arrest date. How did we get to Brian Koberger a month and a half later? So this white Elantra, what I was so whenever they first decided, you know what, this is the car we're kind of like go after, right? The police force went door to door. They did such amazing police work when you like read the probable cause affidavit, which is actually so many people don't read those because you think of like a lawyer piece of paper is like way too hard to read, but they broke it down into layman's terms very well. And I really suggest if you're interested in knowing why they're arresting this guy, you should go read it, and it's very easy to read. So, they searched high and low. They had 0 suspects. This guy has no ties. There is no motive. There is no motive at this point that has come out to connecting these 4 college students and this guy who goes to college in a whole nother university. So how do we connect them? There were 22,000 Elantras that were registered in the area, like let's just say within 200 miles. They started really big and they started working their way down. And they started with the Elantras that were on campus and who they were registered to. And so they started taking these Elantras, and then they would go person by person of all these Elantras and their phone records and start figuring out where was this person at the time of the murders. Then they go and start investigating. They narrow it down to, let's just say, 10,000 Elantras, and then 500. And they start going down to where they're like, all right, this person has a solid alibi. And that's what took so long, is they put police on the ground, on foot, going around and interviewing person after person after person to determine, was this person involved?
That's good.
And so
I would be so pissed
another,
if I was just a regular person in Elantra and I just got picked up by like a SWAT team for no reason. I'm just trying to go to work. It's like, what?
Bro, frat party.
where's
What?
your alibi?
Frat party? What? I'm going
Bro.
to HEB, man. Get out of my way.
Dude, I have a child.
I have a child.
And so I just think it's really like, they did such a good job. Now, how did they find this white Elantra, specifically this one?
Tell
So
me.
remember when I was talking about conspiracy theorists and how you don't need a chip in you because you're on camera every day. The government knows exactly where you are.
Coming
We're all about
Exactly.
to perk up now.
Let's all point at our phones.
Whoa,
So-
you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So they catch this Elantra, right? And they catch it on a gas station camera going towards the scene of the crime before. Then they catch it leaving the scene of the crime. They catch it literally. They go ring doorbell by ring doorbell all the way back to Pullman, Washington, which is where he goes to school, to
Whoa.
Washington State. So they literally track this Elantra, and they're able
Using
to
ring
find
cameras.
where he parks it using campus cameras, using stoplight cameras, using people's personal ring doorbell cameras, security cameras. They literally watch his every move all the way back. And so then they start saying, you know what, we're going to start looking into this guy. Let's look at his cell phone pings. So they're going to look at where his cell phone pings off of in relation to where he's at like that specific time. So they take the nearest cell tower and they get his phone number and they do all of the technological stuff. And they realize that his phone does not ping at the murder, but it pings at where his place of residence in Pullman, Washington. It makes its way and it pings all the way until about like a couple miles outside of the home of the murders, the scene of the crime, and then it just shuts off.
Turns his phone
So
off.
he turns
Smart.
his phone off. Okay. Then he turns his phone on after the murders at 4:45 a.m. I believe his phone turns back on.
25 minutes.
And so it's insane. Like this murder happened so quickly. And so
Timelines.
this guy, so they catch him, right? How everyone thinks that, okay, this guy's got to be super smart. Whoever got away with this murder it's a month and a half. Like, this guy's on the run. Like, he is gone. You're never going to find him, right? Brian Koberger he had a degree in psychology and then goes on to have a master's in criminology and getting his PhD in criminal justice at the time of the murder.
This is where it gets absolutely nuts.
Knuck and futs.
So this guy has he is studying to be a police officer, a detective. Like, he's studying specifically, some of his interests are serial killers. I think one of the crazy parts about this is, I might butcher this, but I'm going to try. I want to say his professor is one of the people who, I don't know if y'all know anything about BTK, the BTK killer, find, torture, and killer. I can't remember his name right now. Super famous serial killer. Really gross and creepy guy, but he's in prison, and this professor of Brian Koberger's is one of the only ones who's interviewed him and written like a book about him and about like the mind of a serial killer. And Brian Koberger ends up speaking with this guy's daughter over time and kind of like learning more about BTK and all this kind of stuff. So he knows exactly what he's doing. And it comes out maybe 3 weeks after the murders. Whenever they start honing in on Brian Koberger, I want to. So December 30th, he's arrested, and so let me back up. About a week or two after he's arrested, not the murders, it comes out that he put out almost like a job posting, I guess you'd call it, on Reddit for his class. He's writing a paper for his criminology class on how to murder somebody, basically. And he puts out this Reddit post on specifically towards criminals, and he wants to know what they were thinking. How did they plan it? How did they get into where they were committed the crime? How did they get away? What kind of weapon was used? So he's like interviewing murderers, I guess you could say. So this guy is studying how to commit the perfect crime.
Whoa.
And so
It's nuts.
they zone in. Now, anybody can drive a white Elantra.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can be driving around this house. It's not illegal to drive around a neighborhood at 4:00 in the morning. It's not illegal to do a 3-point turn in a street. It's not illegal to turn your phone off when you want to and turn it back on when you want to, right? How do they catch this guy? So this guy's planning the perfect murder, right? And he's trying to get away with it. And he's so smart, all this kind of stuff. It's found out that at the scene of the crime, he accidentally left his knife sheath next to one of the victims.
Oh,
So-
brother.
I thought that was so weird and almost like to the
Yeah.
point where it made me a little leery of, did he want to do that? Like, is that like his...
It might be his MO. So we don't know. There is still so much out there about the motive that we don't know. I mean,
Like, did he try to
that could
put
have
somebody
been
else's
his-
fingerprints on it and like try to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, could he have been leaving his calling card? Like a lot of
Yeah,
a
like
lot
Criminal
of murderers
Minds.
will either they'll either
Great
take
show.
stuff from the scene and they'll keep it, or they'll leave their footprint or their fingerprint at their
Says their
like they
mark.
claim this murder. It's a crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Keep going.
so he leaves this knife sheath, and they don't know there is no they pull the DNA from it. The only DNA on it comes from the victims, the blood from the victims, and then an unknown male source from the button on the sheath. So an unknown male. So what that means is they have run his DNA through CODIS, which is where if ever you commit a crime and they take your DNA, your fingerprints, it's put into a system, and then they'll run DNA through the CODIS system to figure out if like you'd committed this murder, right? And you have already had past criminal history. Typically you're never going to just murder once and get it out of your system. Like that's not a thing. It always starts as something small. You always commit these murders, and serial killers and like intense murders will do something small and it will always escalate. So typically their DNA is always in CODIS. Well, this guy's wasn't. And so they had to figure out, okay, he's not just going to give us his DNA because we don't want to set him off. We've been tailing him. He's been on surveillance for weeks. They don't want to tip him off. They have noticed that by the time he gets back to his parents' home, so this pre-planned trip with his dad happens right at Christmas break. His dad flies from Pennsylvania to Pullman, Washington, and they get in his Elantra and they drive cross country to Pennsylvania. And so now you've got the Idaho police who are like, not only is this guy in Washington in a whole nother state, even though it's 10 minutes away, he is leaving thousands of miles away. And how do we know he's going to come back? Like, we've got to get on him. We have to get something on him or we're going to lose him forever. So they surveil him all the way across the country, kind of the same way with the cameras through different jurisdictions and stuff like that. So he ends up being stopped twice on his trip back home to Pennsylvania, which actually ends up turning out that those were not planned. One of the rumors was that detectives knew that they needed to have him stopped for whatever reason. Turns out they didn't. In fact, the Idaho police were and the FBI were mad that happened, that they did stop him, because they were afraid they would he would get scared, right?
Spook him.
So
Spook
that
him off,
actually,
yeah.
they would spook him. So that actually was not supposed to happen, but did on accident. And it's kind of weird. Whenever they stop him, they have camera footage of him. You should go watch it. But they have like the video footage from the police cams, and like almost immediately he like tries to divert all of the questioning over to something else. And he immediately brings up this like police standoff in Washington, which I don't actually know anything about. He's like, hey, yeah, did you hear about this police standoff where this guy like wanted to get killed and like all this kind of stuff? Like he's diverting away from himself the entire conversation. It's so obvious.
And he looks super nervous too.
Yeah, he is very
looks
nervous.
extremely
and
nervous.
His dad, poor guy, is just like I think they were following too close to somebody and maybe speeding. I'm not sure, but
So do you think
his
Dad
poor
knows and he
dad's
was trying to help his son?
I don't
Or
think
those
so.
are very
And
panicky
I'll tell
driving
you,
manners, if not.
yes. And I'll tell you why I don't think he had anything to do with it. So he gets back to Pennsylvania, and he's on surveillance in Pennsylvania for days before he's arrested. He is seen being extremely weird, taking his trash out with gloves. All of his bottles are like bagged separately and like all this kind of stuff. He's throwing all his trash away in his neighbor's trash can.
Yeah.
And there were questions about how do you get DNA from somebody you don't want to throw off? So if you throw, for any murderers out there that are listening to this, if you throw your trash in your
It's
trash can, it
public.
becomes public knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can
So
go through it at any time.
whatever you throw away is determined to be public knowledge, which is why you should also shred anything that has your social security on it. They end up doing a trash pull on his home about 3 days before he is arrested, and it comes back that they do like genealogy testing, in
23andMe.
a very like dumbed down, very small sense of genealogy testing. So they take the DNA from a bottle that his dad had drinking out of, and they take that DNA and they figure out that the DNA on the knife sheath is from the son of the guy that they took the DNA from. So it doesn't necessarily say it's exactly Koberger, but this guy has no other sons. Brian Koberger has one sister, and that's it. So they do a very short DNA test that does genealogy testing basically, and they figure out that the DNA on the sheath comes from, because all sons and fathers share that same, is it the Y chromosome? Is that what you share? Where are all my teachers at? Okay, so it's the Y chromosome. So every father and son share that, and it's like
Colin and Brummy.
super rare that would ever change. It would be a very rare every 100 or 1,000 years that all of a sudden a Y chromosome would change its DNA. Does that make sense? So anyway,
And I think
got it.
I think they said with that short testing, like a 50% match really means that it's like basically 90.9. That's what they said on the documentary
Correct.
I watched. So I just wanted to throw that in there. That was 2 minutes of my 40
because
minutes, so
I
I'm
want to
running out
say,
of time.
I want to say that your Y chromosome's like, it's not a direct copy. It's like 50% or whatever. So that's like 100% match. So they get this DNA, they take it back to Idaho, they draft up their probable cause affidavit and their arrest warrant, and they arrest him. And the first words out of his mouth whenever he was arrested was, has anyone else been arrested? And I think that that's
sus.
very,
Yeah.
it is, but it isn't, because you have to think about who this guy is as a whole. Like, he's in criminology. He has his master's in criminal justice. He knows exactly what to say. He knows his Miranda rights, and he knows that he can't say anything. He will not say anything without an attorney. And when he does, it's going to be very calculated.
Yeah.
He also has a psychology degree, so this guy's going to play games. So I don't think anybody else this is the guy. If you don't think this is the guy, you're crazy. He killed these 4 people, like, by himself.
But he knows people
And
like
why-
us are going to be like,
here's-
wait, why did he say that? and then we're
I
gonna
know.
run with
So
it.
us crazy, and see, he's thinking ahead of the game because okay, he's been arrested. He can't just like run away, right? They have him in cuffs.
Hmm.
His next feat is a jury because he very likely will go to, trial by jury.
And
Mm-hmm.
he's
They're not
just
just
getting
gonna
all
like
the
give this
information
guy
that he can twist and everything like that.
Oh, he's trying
exactly
to confuse
because
some old
people
white
like,
lady that they're gonna put on that panel.
yep. And his defense is going to know exactly who to pick to be on this jury that might believe that. And so,
Mm.
um, so I don't think anyone else was like, this is a single, he did this. Um, so I want to go back to a little bit about the phone records. Premeditated. How do we know this is premeditated? Why do we think it's premeditated?
Yes.
His cell phone ends up the cell phone he has ends up going active like August 12th of 2022. So like right before the school year, he gets a new cell phone in Pullman, Washington. Um, and they follow his ping. So good police work focuses on the day of the murders, and then it focuses on the day before and the day after, and then it focuses on the day before that and the day after that, and it keeps going and going and going and going because you don't want to miss what happened. Like, why did this happen? And the
Yeah,
only way we're going to know if
that's
this
how
has
you get your
happened is
motive.
what happened like months before, and that's how you get your motive, right? So his cell phone ends up pinging the cell tower very close to the house 12 times before the murders actually take place. His cell
What?
phone also pings, so it pings, remember, at like 2:50 in the morning, and then it turns
Yeah, it
off,
shuts
and
off.
it comes back. It reconnects to the cell tower that is the network south of Moscow, like I want to say around 4:48, something like that. So he turns his phone off, and then his phone is seen traveling back to Pullman, Washington, and then it's seen again at 9:12 in the morning back at the scene of the crime.
Returned.
And so
Yeah.
his phone returns to the murder, which is another angle on how they caught him because there are lots of reasons he could have returned. Number one, he could be really cocky and wanting to see, he's probably thinking, "Oh, it's 9:30 in the morning. Somebody's obviously called the police.
Or say
I
it.
want to see I want to see all the the traction that's happening." Or he could have
Or
said, "Oh crap, I left my sheath at the
yes.
murder."
Yeah.
He's sitting there like,
So,
dang it.
yeah. So and we won't know. I don't think we'll know a lot of his motives if we ever know his motive. In all honesty, we may never know why he did it.
Yeah,
It
especially if he
has
gets the
come out
death
just like a
penalty.
few, yeah,
You
which
know
is
what's
like I said,
crazy is
I don't know.
I looked up that BTK Strangler, which he gave himself the
Oh yeah,
nickname Blind Torture Kill. And
that's
after
what it is.
he committed all these murders from 1974 to 1991, but then as he was doing it, he sent taunting letters to police and media outlets and was not caught until 2005.
Mm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if like the sheath was
No
almost like
cell
his
phones.
taunting letter, and
Yeah,
it ended up having DNA on it, and he figured that out. And then now I wonder, since he's
yeah.
caught, maybe he's going to play as many games as he can until he goes away, like Charles Manson type
But
stuff.
what if?
It's nuts.
All right. What if I spend some
Say
time
it.
on Reddit? So what if he was getting these answers and it was like, hey, this will throw them off if you turn your phone off this far away, or like, what if like people are good at murdering, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
and they know like the process to it, and the people answering this Reddit aren't always going to be murderers. They're going to be criminologists or psychologists, and they'll give their idea of a picture murder. So what if he's putting all of these things into practice in one,
To
and
see
that's why
what
he's
works.
turning his phone off, and then oh dude, I'm just shooketh.
Yeah, because I feel like he did a lot of random things, like the way he was like talking to him, and I guess like how he showed up, and maybe how he arrived on scene. Like, I wonder if he
Yeah.
just took like the top comment from like, okay, what do I do when I get there? Okay, this is the top 3 comments. I'm going to try this.
The
And,
case
like,
study
as
that
I'm
comes from this is going to be like,
nuts.
what did he do that other murderers have done in the past that he combined in this one
Mm-hmm.
murder?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, this guy's obviously really complex. If you can go and look at his background, I won't go into a lot of it because it's it's not, to me, relevant. It is and it isn't, because you still committed a murder, and I mean,
4.
I'm sorry, you kind of deserve yes, you deserve what's coming. And I don't know if your background like helps or hurts you, but he does have some type of mental disorder. Um, and it's very clear in a lot of like his Facebook post or like MySpace or whatever he's like posting on Reddit, all this kind of stuff. It's very dark, and just like, this guy's got a problem, and he has had a problem for a very long time. And it's unfortunate that it wasn't caught sooner, because maybe, yes, maybe this could have been prevented. I won't play that card too hard, because to me, I think that this guy was sick and he was going to do it either way, whether he was helped at 15 years old or not.
Okay. I wrote that down. I
But
have like
yeah.
a list of questions I want to ask at the end,
Oh,
and one of them was like, I literally wrote, "Do you think like murders like this guy who studies psychology and masters in criminology have a mental disorder that makes them like want to murder? Like, they're very
yeah,
intelligent people, but they also have this mental
yeah,
disability where they have to get something like an outlet, and this is their way of doing
yeah,
it.
Or I under
But they
feel
think they're
like
yeah.
above
I
the
think,
law."
that part of the brain that tells somebody right or wrong is like underdeveloped, and like,
hmm,
I mean, it's like maybe it's
yeah,
genetic or something like that. They're like, they don't see it as right or wrong. They're just like, oh, it's a gray area.
yeah,
But
yeah. No, I think he's got something. You should go look up his past posts and all that kind of stuff. There is a big mental disorder from what is seemingly a very normal family that he comes from. I mean, his sister is very normal. I think she was in a movie. I don't know, very small part in a movie. Like, she was successful. It's not like
Mm,
she just like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like she was like a dud too, right? And the unfortunate part is, I think this guy did need an outlet, and I think he chose crime, and I think his whole life was working up to this one night. And I really, in all honesty, this is so sad and disgusting, but this everything he did, like, he does not have remorse. He's not going to have remorse. Murderers typically don't have remorse. And this entire murder was his case study. He was a
mm,
criminologist. He was in his PhD. He was doing
Yeah.
this to study his degree, and he unfortunately didn't view these people as people.
Yeah.
He murdered them for his studying, and I think that's so crazy,
And
and very sad, but insane.
what's crazy too, don't you have to do like some type of like dissertation or something when you
Yeah,
go to
to
get your
get your
master's? Like, I wonder if, and I'm sure obviously they're gonna trash that, but I wonder if this was like a huge assignment that he was
Oh
basically
yeah.
doing and then going to present to just like the world instead of like and can you imagine
I
being the
really think
teacher?
he, yeah, I really think he still thinks he's in a case
mm-hmm.
study, to be
Yeah.
honest. I don't think he thinks
Like, he
he's in
thinks he's in
jail.
like a movie or
Um,
something.
Well, he thinks
That's
he's smarter
nuts.
than,
yeah,
like, he thinks he is like leading this case study. Like, he did
yeah,
the research on Reddit. He's putting it into practice, and like,
yeah,
I think he thought he was so smart where he could do this and then benefit from it as an outlet.
It's almost like a
hmm,
dumbed down version of Law Abiding Citizen. You guys ever seen that movie?
oh
I
yeah,
love that
Yeah.
movie.
God, that
oh yeah,
movie's
yeah.
so good. Where like he like purposely shows the justice system that it's messed up, but instead this guy's just
Yeah,
kind of crazy. But anyway,
Oh,
God, it's
yeah.
nuts.
But it's just, I'll be interested to see what comes out. They did take some evidence from his apartment, I believe in Pullman, Washington. They do not have a murder weapon yet. They have not found the knife. Um, it's believed to be a very big knife. I don't know a whole lot about knives, to be honest, but
that's not
I
a
want to say
knife.
it has the
This
double
is a knife.
edge. Um,
Like a
so
sword?
I don't know. No, no, not a sword. Definitely a knife, but like
Mm,
a
like a
big
Bowie
knife.
knife?
Yeah, apparently it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like a huge fillet knife, like something like the real deal.
Oh,
yeah. That's it.
That's a sword.
Mulan, chill.
Okay, Cody, before you get followed by a couple cops tonight,
Yeah.
sheriff's coming over.
If DoorDash shows up, I'm freaking out.
I'm freaking
You
out.
want some candy?
Gosh.
But
Okay, I have
yeah.
another question for you. Wait, keep going.
Well, my last thing to say was June 26th, I believe, is the probable cause hearing. He did waive his right to a speedy trial. which again I think is just a play on.
Part
I
of
think they're
his
smarter than
plan.
No
police,
doubt.
like part of it. So there is a gag order in place, which means that media and like social media, all that kind of stuff cannot, like, they cannot talk about the family, cannot talk to the media. Neither can the attorneys, judges. Like, it's restricted because
Shut right now.
in big
Really? I didn't know you could
high
even do that.
profile cases, yeah, in high profile cases.
Because
So
it'll be judged by
there is a
media at that
law.
point.
Yes, there is an amendment, I believe. I don't know which amendment it is, but like that the media is, like, they're allowed to, like, you can't restrict their access to the public. Does that make sense? So like
Yeah.
the public has the right to know. It's the checks and balances system, right?
Yeah.
They have the right to know what's happening in the justice system so it doesn't become corrupt. And so it's important to keep, the public in sight all the time. But for a judge to put a gag order on a case basically means that this is so high profile that we're not going to be able to have a jury that is unbiased if we don't stop it now.
Yeah, because the media
And in
will
order
take
to have
over.
that,
And
yeah,
Oh yeah.
they
And
can spin it
before they
in
however
order
even
to have that
want.
jury, because even
Yeah.
though we think and we know this guy did this, he still has the right to a fair trial.
True.
Like, that's no.
and if
Everybody
if
does,
you let it
right?
get out there, by the time they get in the seats, those people that are going to be picked for the jury already have their minds made up without a doubt.
Exactly.
So
Okay,
we're
that
waiting
makes
for
sense
June
to do that.
26th. Yeah,
Eagerly.
we're
Have you
waiting
back
for
on.
June
There
26th.
will be a follow up with
Yeah.
you, McKenzie, because that was
Yes.
that was incredible. I feel like I knew nothing, and now I feel like I know it all. Like I'm about to drive up to Idaho and just let that dude have a piece of my mind.
Idaho.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down and take all Colin's questions with me and just have a tell all. Have a little Netflix
right.
special. Oh yeah. Do you have any more questions, Colin?
Oh,
Like you,
a long
This
list
one-
of questions.
Well, this one doesn't make sense. It was, what if there was a human head in the DoorDash bag? But I think we ruled him out. I think he's not a part of it. All right, but
I think that
all
guy
right.
did bunk pretty
Correct.
quick.
Okay, do you think that serial killer, like we look at all these, like Ted Bundy, John Lacey, I don't know, the clown guy. Like we look at all
Gacy.
these
John
examples of,
Gacy.
yes, in history of serial killers. Do you think there are as many, if not more, right now than ever before, but we're so desensitized to it, like we are mass shootings? Like it just happens so much that there's no point in reporting on it? Or
Yes and no. I feel like let's just go back 20 years. Let's just go to 2000 even. Majority of your serial killers think about extremely famous ones like Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or the BTK killer, right? All of those happened in a span of like the 70s and the 80s, like 60s, right? That era. There was no phone. There was no cell phone that was attached to you all the
There was
time.
no Ring
There was
doorbell
no
camera.
social media. There were no Ring cameras. Like, there was no way to keep record of these serial killers. Like, people just disappeared and there wasn't DNA testing. There wasn't, like, even if you go into like, the police work itself, think about how many policemen there were back then, detectives compared to now. And I think now it is harder to be a serial killer, and I don't think than it was back then. I think that serial killers now are more few, far in between, because we can't compare a serial killer to a mass murderer, right? They're
Right,
not the same
right.
thing.
Yeah.
And so mass murders, unfortunately, are the easiest. They're the easiest kind of murder to me, because it's not close and personal. You're using such a high powered weapon, right? For Brian Koberger to choose a knife was so risky.
Yeah.
and personal, yeah.
Because yes, and very personal. And it has come out that it is said that he has he followed the 3 female roommates on Instagram and slid into their DMs and just did it over and over and over again and never got a response. And because of that mental disorder that he has, whatever it is, most likely he took such offense that these women weren't just like
Mm.
fawning over him, that
Yeah.
he was like, well, I'm just going to kill him then, you know, because
So they
I
were
feel wronged.
And
they
that's
were
and
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
picked.
that's an underlying
I
issue
feel
too.
like, yeah,
But
I feel like that could be a motive. So there's that. But I definitely think that serial killers now, I think, are going to be few and far in between, because I think that first murders, like, so like to me, a serial killer, yes, there were 4 victims in this instance, but this was an isolated incident.
Hmm.
Ted Bundy, let's just say he killed 10, he had 10 incidents, but that doesn't mean there were just 10 victims.
Right.
So a mass murder could be, let's take the Las Vegas shooting, for instance. I don't know how many people died, but it could potentially have been
More than one.
hundreds. I mean, shooting from a
yeah,
high tower at just people. Like, I can't believe there were more people that didn't die. And to me, like, those people that do that, they they're out for a death wish, right? Serial
hmm
killers are smart. They're smart. They they know exactly what they're doing. They've
it takes
researched, they've
significantly more
practiced.
planning for sure.
Yeah, it does. And so
It's not just show up and do damage.
Idaho does not have the insanity plea, so he can't plea insanity in this case.
Oh
And
yeah.
so what
Ooh.
will be crazy to what will be interesting to me is he going to plead guilty, admit to murder, and take a plea deal, which would be life in prison, or is he going to say, no, I didn't do this? He still thinks I'm pretty sure he still thinks he didn't do this. Like, this was just a
Yeah.
study. This
That's
wasn't meant for
crazy.
anything. And is he going to try to throw the, like, because that's what's crazy is he's either, if they pursue the death penalty, he's either going to get the death penalty, he's going to take a plea deal, or he's going to walk. And
hmm
so
God, could you
if
imagine if he
they go
walked
to
free
pursue,
just by the way he was able
yeah,
to talk his way out of it?
I mean, look at freaking Casey Anthony.
OJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
OJ
that's true.
didn't do
Exactly. I
it.
won't even say what she is. Anyway, so I just, no, I don't think that, I don't think that, I think serial killers will not be because of technology and the advances in police work. I don't think they'll be very common.
But
We have we
I
have we
I
have definitely romanticized that idea though. Like I think people confuse mass murder with trying to be a serial killer because they know they can't consistently get away with it because they're just crazy and they're just acting in the immediate. But I think we have kind of romanticized like the Ted Bundy and the Jeffrey Dahmer and like all that crazy stuff. But I
but
don't
one of the
think people.
biggest things in the US right now is human trafficking. Right? People are getting
Yeah.
stolen, and we have the same cell
Hmm.
phone technology. They're just not killing these people. They're selling them. Like
Yeah.
the only difference there is it's not like you may be picking your victim too. I don't know, but I think the only
Yeah,
difference there is you're not killing the person. Like this is still a really
correct.
world or countrywide phenomenon, and we have all the stuff to catch people, but people are just one mental disabilities are an all-time high everywhere, and then two, people are getting smarter with their stuff. So that's why no one's catching these human trafficking, and they're doing it hidden in plain sight, but they're just not killing them. So
Yeah,
people are not caring as much. That may not be
correct.
true,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Well, and I think too that the unfortunate part of I think serial trafficking, if you want to even call it that. I mean, these these women, I think a lot of people too kind of they think this, let's just take for instance like a trafficker, right? He goes into a home at night, he breaks in and he steals a child, right? And
hmm,
then he grooms that child and he makes them into a trafficker. That is so rare. That does not happen very often.
agreed.
Um, majority of the women and men that are trafficked through this system are people who unfortunately people don't care about. They're your
Yeah.
prostitutes. They're
True.
your drug addicts. They're your people who they're homeless. They live on the street. They don't have a family.
They've got nobody
And
depending on them,
so,
so there's no.
correct. And so I think that it's not that people don't care, it's that people don't know because they don't know these people. And so that's the unfortunate part about trafficking is two things. They're picking people who people don't know are missing, and it makes way too much money to stop. I mean, and
Yes.
I think there's the
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist inside me saying that
Yeah.
trafficking makes way too much money in America and across the world. I don't care where you live, that it won't stop because it goes all
It's
the
a
way to the top.
business.
I think
Hashtag
Business.
Wayfair.
two of the touchiest conspiracy theories that you can get into is human trafficking, and then I think like the whole like cancer treatment within hospitals too. Like I feel like
Cancer is
those
for sure we have a
$1 billion
cure.
business.
For
But then
sure.
you look at things like you joked about it, but the whole Wayfair thing, it's like, but that's like legitimately a business. It can be monopolized as a business. But yes, we have to save that. But we definitely need to follow up on what you just laid out for us, because
So-
the timeline was spot on. We thought it was the food delivery guy. Colin thought there was a head in the bag for some reason. I don't know where.
Dude, talk about a freaking plot
It was the
twist.
mafia.
It
was the
thought they were
mafia.
gonna
It was
thought they were gonna
mafia
put a horse
head.
head in his bed or something.
Yeah, it was a mafia head.
What if the
That-
door? Whoa! I just saw the. No, we don't gotta get in. Okay, what if the DoorDash driver had the sheath in the bag, so when she took it to the bedroom, he put it there, framed him, so the DoorDash dude pivoted a U-turn, dipped. Wait, did he drive the Elantra?
No.
Oh, then the other guy did it for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah, the
You tried.
Oh,
You
case
tried.
closed.
Colin's like 3 for 3 on having an argument and then beating his own argument with his own words.
Prove himself wrong.
Yeah, you did.
You too.
You did.
Yeah.
No, that was
Yes.
and like I said, I wanted to come in kind of being an idiot and naive to what was going on, but like I didn't know it was as in depth as what it looked like on that documentary. And then when I saw your 18 pages of notes, I was like, man, is there something like deeper to this story? It's
Yeah.
nuts because
What the craziest thing that I read,
Like
like,
you-
Lindsay told me, was like the fact that other girl saw the dude and then just went to sleep
yeah,
and then woke up and then made a 911 call. It's like you had 7 hours
Yeah.
or something to call the cops and you
Mhm.
didn't do anything. Like,
yeah.
Sounds like
I
you're
definitely
victim
think
shaming.
you need to
It's
be.
not her fault. It's not her fault.
Mute him. Mute him.
It's not the roommate's fault.
I mean, she should have
yeah,
called
I don't
somebody.
Yeah, that's,
She didn't go into, what is it, fight or flight? Like, she froze. I'm pretty sure there's a third one.
If I see a
Fight,
mask,
flight, or
like,
freeze, and I think she froze.
Someone's getting shot.
Yeah, I'd say
You've been drinking all night.
I
It's
think
4 a.m. You don't know if you saw what
I
you
think
saw.
she locked the door and was like,
Yeah,
and
see
not
no
to
evil, hear
mention,
no
okay,
evil.
remember, this house was a party house. People are in and out of the house
Yeah, that's true.
at all
That's
times.
true.
She
Because
could have
that's
thought he was there for something different. I don't know.
because
Maybe some
that's one of
BTM.
the that's one of the theories too, is that he had come before that to like a party to kind of like stalk them and basically got the layout of the house so that he could get in there and not really alert. Like if he only wanted to take out like one person, he wouldn't wake anybody else up. No, that's such a crazy story. I didn't know how many like moving parts there were. And then he got caught.
Yeah.
Thank you, Big
And it's
Brother, for
ongoing.
just stalking him. Yeah.
well, the
Yeah,
surveillance
there's still a
part
lot
too.
coming out. Yes, the
part,
surveillance. That
that's
was amazing.
big. That's big.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think there's going to be, I think that's been going on for since the mid 2000s. Conspiracy theory myself.
Don't unmute
That's
it.
been going on for a long time, but seeing it
Yeah.
in I'm going to say the spotlight of this case that's big. That's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they'll say it like this, so it's even though it's still an invasion of privacy, but they're going to use it to like, oh no, this is why we need this.
It's the
Yeah.
whole reason
This
we
is
have the
why.
Patriot Act, because we were attacked on our soil by terrorists. So now I have to know where you are on your phone at all times. Like that's what it's turned into. And it helps in those situations, but 90% of the time my
Which don't
FBI
get me
agent's
wrong,
looking at me like,
100%. If a cop would have came and knocked on my door, I'd have been like, yeah, dude, here's my DVR that records
Yeah.
10,000 hours of video.
but they
tape.
went ahead
Use
and
it as much as
X'd
you
out
want.
they went ahead and X'd out the middleman and didn't even knock on the door. They just hacked into their Ring camera and just looked at it. Which is crazy.
It's crazy. And that's so everything that we have so far, just I'll end on this, is like the probable cause affidavit has come out. All they have to, like, the Idaho police could have said 3 sentences and gave probable cause, like the DNA was on the knife sheath and that's it, and could have gone on. But
Yeah.
this probable cause affidavit was so well written that they were not going to leave anything out because they're going for a conviction. I would be so surprised if they don't go for the death penalty.
They're trying to get that dude for sure.
For sure.
That's nuts.
Well, McKenzie,
I
I
don't
have
care. Yeah.
I have come into this podcast a couple times with a bunch of notes and like a lot of plans, and the way that you presented this case on top of like your notes in such a great order, and you were so well spoken. I think you crushed it. Like I feel like I know actually a
thank
lot
you.
about it now.
100%.
10 times
yes.
better than finding out that our founding fathers were gay. McKenzie,
That's a conspiracy theory in itself.
you have absolutely killed it. And if you get a couple calls tonight
Thank
from
you.
like Indonesia or Australia or Canada, just be ready to be on the move. You may be going on multiple podcasts in different countries. You may be on a world tour after this.
Oh my goodness.
I don't.
Hey.
and
This is just, like,
I don't know
for
if
fun.
Justin's. I don't know if Justin's ever told you this, but broccoli's man-made.
Okay, we're not getting into it. McKenzie, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it, and we will follow up with you. I guess whenever June.
Yep.
26.
26-ish.
26.
Something around there.
Good.
Good times, bad friends.